A proposed natural gas pipeline is upsetting a lot of people who don't want it on their land. But as News 8's Lancaster County reporter Meredith Jorgensen tells us, they may have no choice.
The pipeline will come down from the east side of my farm and it will go over towards that woods and across the creek.
It might not be long before the 100-plus acre farm that's hosted 5 generations of the Bowl family hosts something else, a natural gas pipeline.
What frustrates me most anything is it goes right through most of my farm, most of my fields.
Jay is opposed to it. He says it might hurt the future generations who farm here and the land itself.
I am not very happy about that. When you disturb topsoil, it takes many years to build it back up to where it should be.
And it would take just as long to regrow trees disturbed by the pipeline. Don Stark doesn't want to lose any of his. This tree is 17 inches. The pipeline would be more than twice as big, 42 inches wide, and running right through their front yard.
We're more interested in preserving it as it currently exists.
Mount Joy Township is trying to help its residents get the information they are looking for, but supervisors are finding that hard themselves.
We don't even know what properties are involved. So it's frustrating to us.
That's why Mount Joy hopes to bring residents together for several upcoming meetings.
Knowledge is power. I mean, if we get it out to the residents and they know what's going on, they won't feel like somebody's out to get them.
In Lancaster County, Meredith Jorgensen, News 8.
Susquehanna Valley communities banding together to fight a proposed natural gas pipeline. A gas company from Oklahoma called Williams Partners wants to build a new pipeline, seen here in red, through several Susquehanna Valley communities, and then connect it to its current pipeline, seen here in blue. News 8's Lebanon County reporter Barbara Barr reports on some early opposition to the plan.
The Marcellus shale boom appears headed to the Susquehanna Valley via a natural gas pipeline.
It covers quite a bit of the northern part of the township.
Williams Partners out of Oklahoma wants to build a new 100-mile pipeline dubbed Central Penn, running through eastern Pennsylvania, including Lebanon and Lancaster counties.
There are a lot of things I don't like about this proposed pipeline.
Lebanon County Commissioner Joellen Litz attended a meeting Thursday night that included some property owners already opposed to the pipeline. She's encouraging them to come up with alternatives.
Just to say not in my backyard is not good enough. They're going to do this. It's a matter of how it's going to happen.
The company wants to build the line to relieve bottlenecks and connect up with its main line that extends from Texas to New York City.
In one way or the other, it's going to go through the whole, pretty much the whole state, I believe.
Firestone wants to learn more about the pipeline before making a decision. It would run through a big section of Union Township across recreation areas, including Swatara State Park, the Appalachian Trail, and Lebanon Valley Rails to Trails. Williams will pay landowners for the easement or right to use their property to build the gas pipeline, but natural gas companies can acquire it by eminent domain.
That concerns me. I don't like eminent domain.
The ultimate decision on the pipeline is up to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. In Lebanon County, Barbara Barr, News 8.
Morning, everyone.
It was standing room only inside Tuesday's county commissioners meeting. Outside, protesters were standing along North Queen Street to show their opposition against the natural gas pipeline. Some asking simply, why?
And I feel that the pipeline is just in the wrong place for the wrong purpose. And that's why I'm here to protest.
I have several people. I'll introduce them.
Representatives from the Williams Company made a short presentation, then took questions from the commissioners about pipeline placement and safety.
Bottom line, anytime the public has a concern about their safety, we have to take note of that.
You'll forgive us if we laugh out loud when you call this a pretty good route.
Many residents voiced concern about the pipeline running through the Tuckwon Glen Nature Preserve in southern Lancaster County.
What is preservation and what is conservation if it's not protected?
Williams says it will work with people to come up with a compromise.
And ultimately, we want what they want is to identify a pipeline route that minimizes impact on people and the environment. Hopefully, by working together, we can do that.
A major natural gas pipeline has been proposed that would cut through Lancaster and Lebanon counties. Well, tonight, a lot of residents gathered to learn more about such a pipeline. Dickinson College sponsored an information session at Lebanon Valley College in Annville. News 8's Justin Betty was there.
Class 2 is any location with more than 10.
I think that there's a lot of misinformation out there, and so we just want to really make sure that people know what's going on, know what their rights are.
State environmental groups, including a group from Dickinson College, are holding informational meetings to let local people know what to expect when a gas pipeline is built.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of people don't really understand the environmental impacts and also the financial impacts of what's going on. I think that a lot of people think that this is going to be like a boom for the Pennsylvania economy.
And they diverted around the pipeline crossing.
At Lebanon Valley College, speakers told a crowd of about 50 people how pipelines are built, what to look for once they are, and about their rights.
What measures are in place to protect us, but also what we as citizens need to do to help protect ourselves.
It's not a matter of being afraid. It's a matter of trying to create the best future for our kids and our grandkids and trying to preserve the integrity of the land and the water. And so that's less a question of fear as it is of stewardship.
In Annville, Justin Betty, News 8.
Walk the planned route to show you the impact through their eyes.
Energy. It turns lights on, makes water hot, powers cars, and nations go to war over it. It also keeps you moving. First, let's walk back in time. Around 2000, the nation had only about 10 years worth of natural gas left domestically. But with advancements in hydraulic fracturing or fracking, we are living in a natural gas energy boom.
Experts are anticipating energy independence in the United States within 20 years.
Pennsylvania's shale gas is now world famous. The gas pouring out of well pads is selling before it can even move to the marketplace, which means gas companies need more pipelines to move the stuff, including right here in the Susquehanna Valley.
The Atlantic Sunrise Pipeline expansion, 178 miles of new pipeline from northeast PA all the way down here in southern Lancaster County. It'll completely cross Lebanon County, most of Lancaster County. It will move 1.7 million decatherms of natural gas every day. What's a decatherm? No idea, but Williams says it's enough to power 7 million U.S. homes every day.
The problem or the quandary we face is we have all these sources of energy now that will last well over 100 years, but we don't have the infrastructure necessary to move it.
Now, we can't walk 178 miles, so what we're hiking is the Rock Springs expansion line. It's at about an 11 miles proposed pipeline that would run across southern Lancaster County and end at a natural gas power plant just across the state line. 11 miles, we can do that.
We're taking this trip on foot to see and feel the real impact these pipelines would have and meet the people who would have to give up the most if the pipeline is built.
That's like the worst new neighbor I could ever have.
People like the Clatterbuck family in Mardick Township.
We're not like activists by nature, but we realized really early on that like this chose us. Like we will do what it takes.
And what they have invested in this land cannot be measured in dollars.
All the stones in the background we picked out of the creek, and my father did all the masonry work. Like we built this growing up, the whole house.
The shoes look especially good with that dress, honey.
The proposed Williams pipeline could run right through their backyard.
We found pink ribbons through the woods, and we're like, that must be what it is.
Now they're leading efforts opposing the pipeline, hoping to force Williams out of Lancaster County.
I mean, I don't want to be stereotyped as a tree hugger. I'm not. I've never been an activist before. I just really feel like it is the land that gives us life, and I appreciate it, and there are some places that need to stay sacred.
Only about a mile in, and the path is already heating up.
We don't want them down here. Why do they have to come to pristine, southern Lancaster County?
Hundreds of people came to Millersville University for the chance to speak directly with representatives from Williams Partners, the company that wants to build the proposed pipeline.
And that's really the goal, is to create a dialogue with people so that as specific issues come up, if there's specific concerns, we've got the people here tonight who can address it. And ultimately, the input that we get tonight is going to have an impact on the final route of the project.
Feedback has already led to Williams moving the route for the proposed pipeline around Tahquon Glen and Schenck's Ferry, but many people still want the pipeline out of the Susquehanna Valley altogether.
5-generation farm. I don't think I need to be bothered with something like this, but it looks like it's out of my control to do anything about it.
And others don't trust the answers they're receiving anyway.
And I meet a lot of used car dealers
These guys in a red shirt, they could be used car dealers in a minute. Let's just say I feel like I'm in the same situation I was when I walked in the door.
In Millersville, Justin Betty, News 8.
Williams Partners hopes to present its final proposal for the pipeline this fall, with actual construction beginning in 2016.
It was like gut-wrenching.
Megan Detter grew up on this South Londonderry Township property and never wanted to leave. She was planning to build a house right here with her daughter and husband.
We're in limbo now. We have no idea what we're going to do with our lives.
Detter says Williams has already been to the property to meet with her and her parents. She says the proposed line would knock down trees, dig up fields, and maybe do away with this small barn where the family keeps horses in the off-season.
He said that they would take that down if it was in the 100-foot easement.
Thursday night, Detter and others will hear from the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund about blocking the pipeline with new local laws.
The options that we have are to draft community rights ordinances, which ultimately is probably the only way that we're going to stop the pipeline.
Community rights ordinances are passed by local governments and simply reaffirm residents' rights to their land. The Defense Fund says that's been enough to delay or stop projects in the past. Detter says protecting her rights is what this is all about.
This is my childhood. I mean, I grew up playing in the woods, in the creek, and in the spring, and the pond. So, of course, I'm, protecting the land too, but ultimately, it's our rights that are more important.
Where Martic Township is now the first municipality to officially come out against the proposal for a natural gas pipeline in Lancaster and Lebanon counties.
News 8's Lancaster County reporter Caitlin Smith found out why its leaders are opposing it.
The signs say it, and now the Martic Township supervisors do too. Melinda Clatterbuck was at the meeting.
We were all looking around each other like, did they just say that? Is that what they just said? Because they didn't have it in front of us.
But now she does have a copy of the resolution.
A resolution opposing the Atlantic Sunrise natural gas pipeline expansion.
Melinda's family has been opposed to the pipeline since March when they heard it would run through their property. The path has since changed, but her passion has not.
I think most of this line is for benefiting the gas companies. I'm against it because I think it's unethical and it's not American.
She and others have pushed the township to take the same stance, but the chairman says the board did its own homework.
There's a mixed feeling on the board. There are those that have we want to be sensitive to the needs of our country, but we also need to be sensitive to the needs of our residents.
He says the supervisors don't have any specific concerns about safety when it comes to the pipeline, but if something did happen, he says this would be the worst possible location. That's because we're right by Lakewood Estates, the township's largest housing development. All of the residents here would be trapped if something went wrong, and right now, the pipeline is proposed to go right through here.
We felt as supervisors that we needed to stand up for those people that were going to be directly impacted to their quality of life and their way of life.
Even one of the supervisors, Richard Drum, would be impacted. The path would go through his property. But the chairman says the board's biggest reason for saying no to the pipeline is to protect the beauty and natural resources of the township. All 5 board members voted the same. In Lancaster County, Caitlin Smith, News 8.